Welcome back everybody, and thank you for sticking with me. Like I said, today we're going to be doing a full test and review of the brand new Benchmade 535 Bugout. Now, right off the bat, I can say this knife is lighter than you would imagine. Now, they said this is a sub 2 ounce knife. This is supposed to deliver an extremely lightweight knife without sacrificing strength when doing outdoor tasks. Now, when you get this in hand, it actually does feel pretty solid despite the weight. I do like the fact they put the jimping right here so you have a good grip. They did decide to change up the pocket clip quite significantly on this. They have their new mini deep carry pocket clip, which is drastically different than the deep carry pocket clips you can get from Benchmade, which are significantly longer, which I think would look kind of goofy on a knife of this size. Overall, so far with the first impressions, we love this knife. It is rocking an overall length of just under 7.5 inches with a blade length which isn't too shabby at 3¼ inch. So you're getting a 3.25 inch blade, and you're going to be getting it in S30V, which I'm very glad that it kind of stepped away from the CPM 154 and are pushing more into the S30V, because I just feel that steel is just a little bit better. Now, this is a first production run. I got a pretty high number considering I got this about 3 hours after it was announced at 8:31. I picked this particular one up over at DLT Trading, and I think right now they are only available for pre-order at bladehq.com. However, once these become mainstream and are officially released and they have them on different outlets such as Amazon, I'll definitely be dropping those links down in the video description as well. Well, the first logical thing is to go ahead and check it out. See how the edge is initially that we get out of the box, and we are getting a good edge. Okay. Now, with this being such a thinly profile blade, I would be kind of disappointed if we didn't have a good edge to start out with. For this being a very light duty knife, this is something that I could see as a philosophy of use, as the TMPers would say. This would be an excellent backup blade. It only weighing 2 ounces, I could stick this almost anywhere, at any pocket, any pack, and pretty much forget about it until I need it. But off of first impressions, I have no blade play. It's got a smooth lock with the axis lock. Now, they did something a little bit different with the axis lock that I do want to touch on real quick, is the bearing right here that actually initiates the axis lock. Here, this actually made out of stainless steel, but they did everything they could to try to cut weight everywhere. So this is actually DLC coated titanium, so they're getting a 30% weight reduction. And physically, titanium is stronger, but we don't know how it's going to be in the long term. But as the locking bearing, I don't think we're going to have a lot of issues. And there was a few people complaining that they were going to have some issues with the plastic, going, oh, that's really weak and that's crazy. Well, from what I can see right in here, looks like we do have some phosphor bronze bushing, so we're going to have some metal hardware in there. It looks like we have a little bit of liners in there till about right here at this point. So we're going to have a stronger brace on this part to the first screw. So we're going to have a stronger leverage point right where the blade and the handle connect. So that should enable us to have a decently strong light duty knife that we can use outdoors in the field. Now, keep in mind, this is a folding knife, so I'm not going to be like abusive testing this thing, because if I decided to go balls to the wall like I would on a 4max, I would probably snap it.
According to Blade HQ, this is the primary function of the 535 Bugout, is to actually slice an apple, because for food processing, this is one of the most important 200 uses. So basically, according to the representatives, you just make a nice slice like this down the center of the apple. Now, because it's a thin blade, we don't have to worry about doing crazy things like splitting the apple in half and, you know, all that craziness. And now we got our apple slice, because we're professionals.
That wasn't fun. That was lame.
Alright, now what we're about to do with this right here, I know I've been letting just the testing footage go without a lot of commentary, but we're going to be putting stress on this knife because it says it's an outdoor knife, but what if on some crazy reason, this is the only knife I've got in an emergency, they are calling it the Bugout for all. Let's go and test it on some light, tiny pieces of wood and see if it can handle the stress of being pounded on. So far, it's doing pretty good, actually. Now, this is something I wouldn't recommend, especially with this knife weighing under 2 ounces, but it's good to know if you need to break down some kindling, can it do it? It's not bad.
Holy crap, can this little tiny freaking lightweight knife do some serious freaking work? Whew. This thing surprised the heck out of me. Now, we were doing all of our testing in 107-degree weather, so I was about to die outside, but I was doing my best. I do apologize in advance that there wasn't a lot of commentary in the video, but it was very loud in the area that the wooded area that I was testing. There's a lot of people out there grilling, cooking, camping, and such like that, so I had to do my best to kind of block all that out to not detract from the video. Now, for this knife only being freaking 1.8 ounces, I am completely shocked. And I do attribute the fact that it still has a decent amount of strength, like we said earlier, to the fact that there is that liner inside till about this point right here in the knife, which kind of creates a brace in that blade, and it sits really well in the pocket. Like I said, it deploys. It's really smooth now that I've kind of whacked it and batoned it. It wants to drop for me all of a sudden. And what I love about this blade is it's really smooth, but there is no blade play in this thing whatsoever. All I've done so far to this knife is actually take some goof off and kind of clean off the sticky tape residue, but other than that, as you can see with that tumbled stone wash finish, there's a little bit of character on this blade, but it did a really good job of resisting all of the wear and tear because of S30V's corrosion and wear resistance. Now, the only change that I would ask them to make, because we did some testing with it and it did not pan out, which I'm not going to show that footage because it didn't work, is there is no 90-degree spine on this, and for this being a camping / outdoor backpacking blade, for them calling it the Bugout, I would love to see a 90-degree spine right here so we can actually throw some sparks with a ferro rod. It's like kind of sharp and you could probably do it yourself, but for someone having a blade like this that's this pricey, unless you're really confident in your abilities to mod knives, I probably wouldn't recommend it. So if Benchmade does end up watching this video for any way, shape, or form, that is the only design adjustment I would make. Now, what I want to do is, like we did in the beginning, I want to check the edge after the 4 or 5 hours we were outside doing testing with it. And it did lose a little bit of its edge. It's a little toothy, but it's still very serviceable. I'm really impressed, and because this is the first time anyone was actually testing this blade, and overall I really like the large lanyard hole. I do love the fact that it's tip-up carry. You do have choices for your left or right-handed carry. It's really nice. I love the fact they went with blue, because blue and green are my favorite colors, so this spoke to me really quickly. The S30V, I like the simple drop point design of this blade. It does a really good job of kind of having a nice classic design as far as that's concerned. And that swedge will provide some decent piercing capabilities, and that high flat grind will give you a lot of wear. Now, I'm glad they decided to go with a flat grind outside of doing something silly like a hollow grind, which Benchmade rarely does anyway, so I'm not really worried about that being something they would do. The only concern I have with this knife as far as the longevity of it, it would be the titanium locking mechanism with the axis lock. However, so far throughout my testing with me being able to take this out for 4 or 5 hours, I imagine if I was going to have any problems or cracks or chips or anything like that, or any degradation in the locking mechanism, it should have shown up throughout the testing we did already. So for those of you who are looking for a awesome lightweight backpacking blade, or a backup knife to a heavy duty or fixed blade, or really heavy duty folder, this is a knife that I could definitely throw my thumbs up and recommend due to the testing we did and the success of how strong they actually did make this blade. But with that said, if you enjoyed the test footage and you enjoy the effort we put into really breaking in this knife and showing you what it is capable of, definitely throw this video a big thumbs up and share this out with your friends and family in your social media networks so we can keep growing, thriving, and making awesome videos for you guys. But that just about does it for now. Hope you guys have an absolute wonderful day. I'm out.